Very big welcome to you, my dear Sagittarius. Today is your day. You are getting your full moon. That means the sun is in Gemini, which is your opposite sign. And your opposite sign is bringing you ecstasy. Ecstasy to the point where you are now able to feel like a rebirth in the way you are expressing your self-love. And so you see that the sun in Gemini is giving the light to the moon, which is in your sign. And so here you see deep down you are blending energies that are hard to blend, masculine and feminine, right? And then you see deep down in your subconscious that your grandmothers are there and they plant the seeds of consciousness of what they have lived, because they're our ancestors. They're the ones that walked the path before us. And so it's a really beautiful moment for you to be able to have the full moon as this, I am in my opposite sign. I am now connecting with Gemini, my opposite sign, right? They're opposite of each other. Sun here, moon, full moon here. And so you see that this is a very special moment. We, of course, also gonna look at Jupiter, and Jupiter has moved into Cancer and is going to stay in Cancer. And in Cancer, Jupiter is exalted, is happy, and we see the balance here of this couple. The ecstasy has turned into something really special, and we see that here is that perfect energy that two people can create. And Jupiter is ideal, right, is the expansion. Then we are going to look at Saturn, because Saturn has moved into Aries, and here in your deck it's the Dancer. Saturn, the world, is bringing you the ability to dance through the world with different people, different cultures, and in Aries it's kind of like, well, let's do it, right? Then we're going to look in your court card, and that's here, the eagle. Now, I used to give you a date, but now I'm dividing the date even more into details. And so we have the eagle, which is the Knight of Wands, with Scorpio, the death above. And that's between the 13th of November and the 22nd of November. This combination I have talked about in the previous reading. So if you have your birthday between there, 13th of November and the 22nd of November, then you are this combination, right? So have a look into that reading. Then we have the pure Sagittarius, which has as a soul the blending, and as a court card here, the eagle. That's between the 23rd of November and the 11th of December. That's the Knight of Wands with Temperance above. And then we have another combination, and that's here the Queen of Pentacles. And here we see that she has above her the blending, and she understands also the fire aspect, right? And it's between the 12th of December to the 21st of December. So these are the differences, and I use the different decks so you can really see, okay, above there's the blending, but below she is the Queen of Pentacles. So if you have your birthday there, then that's your combination. We're going to look back at the last reading where we had Taurus Sun giving Sagittarius Moon the light, and we had a special Pluto in Aquarius retrograde, and the message was exploring new passions will bring a new groundedness. So here we can see if there is a reoccurring card, and I looked and there is not, and so I can begin the reading. We begin with the eagle. We begin with the 9th house of learning and believing, And here comes the Four of Stones, which is the Sun in Capricorn. When the Sun is in Capricorn, we start winter. And here we need to make sure that we have everything to survive the winter. The 9 and the 4 is the 13, and that's then here Scorpio, death, the transformation, a big transformation. And in that transformation, we're learning then to arrive in the 4, and the 4 is the Emperor, is Aries. So here comes the transformation to understand that you are safe when you work, when you put things aside. What is coming from the Mother Piece Tarot? The 9 of Wands to the right. And you see this woman here meditating with the 9 wands behind her, and it's pointing to the right. And you understand that she has done everything in her power to arrive here where she is. And even though it's difficult, she knows that here is a 9-9 portal, right? Because you're the 9th house of learning and believing. And then here the 9 moon in Sagittarius, the constellation here, is saying, well, understand that when we work hard, we then have here the survival guaranteed over the winter. And so you understand that this is pointing in the direction of the outward, to the full moon, to the right, to the full moon, to the left, to the new moon. And so this is a beautiful sign, right? A 9-9 and the 4 is talking here to you, and you know what you need to do to be safe. The Queen of Pentacles, she is getting the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man is Neptune. Neptune also has moved into Aries, so there is Saturn and Neptune in Aries. We're not dreaming about it anymore. We are taking action. And then the enlightenment, the fact that we are hanging here on this tree, it's almost like we're doing inversions. We want to reflect. We want to be reborn. We want to see a new perspective on things, right? And so the 10 Zodiac sign, which is career and success, is having a moment of, I need to see things from a different perspective. So here together we have the 22, and the 22 for me is always the Fool, because we have 22 major arcana, and the Fool is always the 0, but also the 22, right? And so here comes the 22. I can also calculate out of the 12 a 3, and the 10, that's the 13. Again, here also a transformation is happening into the 4. The 4, the Emperor, Aries is talking. What is the Hanged Man bringing? The Child Eternal. And this is really a beautiful deck, right? These are the archetypes from Carolyn Myss. And you see here that this Child Eternal, I'm going to read to you the shadow attributes and the light attributes, right? You see that she's hanging here, and of course we're going to look at this first, the dark side of what is it now that you need to work on, and its inability to grow up and be responsible. Extreme dependency on others for physical security. So I think you got to let go of that and come into the light. And that is bringing you determination to remain young in body, mind, and spirit. Ability to see things with fresh eyes, right? And so these children are literally flying. They're having fun. They're enjoying, right, who they are. They're not dependent on no one. And so I think the 22 is saying, begin to be an eternal child that is liberated from whatever has happened to you when you were a child. So then I want to see what is the Mother Piece Tarot bringing. I'm just going to put this card down, and we get the Lovers pointing to the left down. And this is Gemini. And so here we have now a triangle, right? We have the 12, the 12, and the 6 is the 18. That's the moon. So the grandmother is coming and saying, well, understand that here you want to come into the love. It's pointing down, so your self-love is not really there yet. You need to work on your self-love, right? And understand that this full moon is bringing up the energy to love yourself even more because of Gemini. And Gemini is saying, hey, you can love yourself. Now, what is the lovers bringing? The star. This is Aquarius, right? So if you want to become a star, if you want to come out of whatever dependencies you have here, you can do it by seeing into how you love yourself, by seeing into here the Hanged Man, by seeing that you can learn to be a star, to be someone that knows that everything has its moment, that everything is destined, right? That destiny is saying, well, now is the time to let go and to love yourself. And this is quite an abstract painting, right? For the lovers. It's 2 cups, it's this really beautiful 2 walls create then here this opening. And I really love this deck because I have no control over. They come up. So the north, east, south, west position of the card, each one has a meaning. And so here the meaning is that you are internally not there yet to really love yourself. And that's why you got the Hanged Man. So I'm going to look into Aquarius, what it brings later, because there is, again, another card where this is connecting. So I'm going to show you that once we get there. Now we're going to look at Jupiter. The Wheel of Fortune is getting Can You Hear Me? And Can You Hear Me is actually letting you know that something deep within you, you are feeling a little sad. You're feeling like you're calling out for someone. The 28 turns into a 10, so we have a 10-10 portal right away. And Jupiter, right, is now actually in Cancer, so we're going to look at that. But you see very clearly that here is a moment where you understand something is calling you to go out there, and I'm gonna see what is your deck saying, and the discernment is coming, the 20. And you see how she's looking at her. How beautiful is this, right? So we have a 10-10 here and the 20. So in a way altogether we have 40. And the 4 is get ready for the winter. Get ready that you need to be prepared. You need to be strong to survive that, right? And so you see that the discernment is looking at her and saying, can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. I am answering. And so trust the guardian angels. What is the discernment bringing? Anvil. Anvil is willful and resistance. And there is a resistance out there in the world right now. And we see the 4, we have the 40 here, and we see the 4, the crossing, right? And I'm going to read this to you. And we see here, we are all born to lock horns with life, to bring trouble and tussle to those fool enough to try ruling us. The grip of youth fights for its truth. Strike the death knell, history bell, and blast out the past. Punctuate, perforate, mark, and send your distinct new hood for your good to be stamped, revamped, and returned. So there is something going on, a big revolution, or a big actually resistance to something that is not working anymore. And of course I want to see what is Cancer saying, and Scorpio came up. And so Scorpio, right, is actually the biggest transformation we go through, and somehow we go deep into the waters. We see that Pluto has answered. Pluto is in Aquarius and the star has come up. And now here we have the 7 and here the 4. So we had the 4 And then this 4 is a 4-4, and here the 7. The 7, that's the crown chakra. That's where we combine the masculine and the feminine, the 3 and the 4. That's where we understand that we have come to be a leader that has emotional intelligence and knows how to handle simply any situation. Now the full moon. The full moon is bringing you the dragon's hoard. And the dragon's hoard is beautiful because here you have the protecting the future aspect, and you see that grandma is planting the seeds in your dreams, and you have the 12, and the 12 is Pisces, and Pisces is the moon card. And so here's the 3, and the 3 we know has come through the Hanged Man when we calculate it together. The 3 is here also in this card. The 3 and the 4 again is then the 7, the emotional intelligence. And so we see the 9 and the 3 is the 12. The 12 then comes up again. We understand that in the 12 is Neptune, the Hanged Man, or is Pisces, right, as a zodiac sign, or all 12 zodiac signs. What is coming from your deck? You get the Wheel of Fortune again. So I have a German and an English deck, so I can show you that I have this card twice, right? And so here it was the Station, and here this is the German card, so that's why it says Ernte, and here it's the Harvest. And in the Harvest we see that the Wheel of Fortune is saying you understand clearly what the next step is, because the 3 that is resulting out of this and the 10 is the 13, and then again that's the transformation we're going through, and the full moon is bringing that transformation so that you can really be in Jupiter. Jupiter in Cancer is now pushing you to be protected. The Sun, which is in Gemini, is bringing you the change, the wind. And so Gemini ecstasy is saying, well, things are shifting, things are changing. The 24 is a 6. Here the 19 turns into a 10. The 10 and the 6 is Mars. Mars, which rules Aries, and Saturn has moved into Aries. We see that things are really shifting, really changing, and hopefully for the good, right? What is coming from Gemini? You get the Queen of Wands, and that's Aries. So Aries is saying, yes, things are going to change. Things are going to be different. But then we have the spark, then we have the light. And we know that here is a 7, the 7 and the 1. The first zodiac sign is the 8, and the 8 is we have the strength to do what we're doing. We know very clearly that now is the time to act, to be inspirational, even though if this is happening, and this is happening all over the world right now. And so you understand that there's a big shift happening, a big change. And are you part of it or are you against it? Then Saturn is bringing you the Hermit. And the Hermit is Virgo, is understanding that deep within I know where I find my strength in the meditation, in the silence, in the knowing, and I can handle anything. The 9 and the 3, the 12. Again, the Hanged Man, the Child Eternal knows that. And so you understanding more and more that it's important to go within no matter what's happening. Now here, Saturn is the Dancer, and it's a very beautiful card. Now what is Virgo bringing you, or the Hermit is bringing you the High Priest. And the High Priest is Taurus, is the spiritual. This is the church, and this is the one that doesn't need a church. Both of them are good, because the 9 and the 5 is the 14, and the 14, that's you. That's blending the wild, the spiritual, that doesn't need a construct, that doesn't need a form, and then here, the church that needs a form, because people are like that. People, there are 2 types of people, and that's the blending. That's the masculine and the feminine. And if we don't understand that, we will always be at war at a spiritual war. And so the 3 and the 9 is the 12, right? The 12 and the 5 is the 17. And that's again here, Aquarius. You understand that the star, because Pluto is in Aquarius, and this is the 20 years Pluto is going to be in Aquarius. And so, can you hear me? It's almost like calling out to other races out there in the universe, other stars, star systems that we are exploring and wanting to be part of. And so the 17 is speaking here. What is coming from Aries is the King of Swords, and that's Aquarius as a court card. And so we have the star and we have Aquarius as a court card, right? This is the 11. The 11 is the portal that opens you up into the dimensions that you're meditating in. And so we have here the 3 and the 5 is the 8. And so this is the 8th of November or the 11th of August, a date that might be of significance for you if you are going deeper into the spiritual. And you see, we just had a new Pope elect, right? And so you understand it's really spiritual, this message. And of course, I want to know, what is Aquarius bringing to the star and the King of Swords? And the Page of Pentacles is coming up. And look at that. That's the new generation. That's the hope. That is the child eternal. That we have to understand that when we feel connected with the earth, we feel connected with all energies, and we are here for them, and we take care of them. And so Aquarius is saying, yes, Pluto is in Aquarius, so are you ready to be a star? Are you ready to listen to different perspectives? Now you're ready to listen here to different perspectives, because if not, life is going to be really difficult for you. Life is not going to be ecstasy. Life is just going to be like chaos. And if you're in that chaos and not in the silence, not in the spark, right, you understand that your life is going to be out there, but not in here. Wow, what a beautiful message for your full moon. I wish you a really, really beautiful full moon ceremony. So make a ceremony, make a celebration out of it. And I hope, of course, that I see you in the next reading. That when we get the sun in Cancer, and Cancer has brought the transformation, a big transformation. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.